these are potatoes. So you can see them. They're in the midst of the soaker hose, which I need to actually move away from them because potatoes don't need a ton of water. I threw those in the ground probably 3 weeks ago. I should have thrown them in the ground earlier. Look at how healthy these are. These were in the ground 2 weeks before the other ones were. They're from the same bag from the grocery store, and those are just thriving. These are russet potatoes. Not every area grows every kind of potato well, so your area may only grow gold potatoes or red potatoes or baby potatoes or russet potatoes or sweet potatoes. I don't know. The thing about your land or wherever you're growing is you can experiment. This area that I have, and I have green onions in here. You can see my pretty green onions. They're doing really great. Got new ones coming up. Some of them bolted, which means that they had flowers growing on them, and they're the ones that look kind of dead. I planted them anyway, and now there's like little babies growing near them. So there's new growth, and then I'll just yank up the ones that are like old that had bolted and get rid of those. And green onions are something that like multiply a lot. So onions are something you can't really go wrong with trying to plant something, because onions and garlic are very prolific plants and they flavor everything. So garlic is the same way. It is very flavorful. It grows in abundance everywhere. It goes crazy, and you don't have to do a whole lot with it, but it just flavors your food really well. I'm growing a lot of things like that because if there are food shortages, I still want flavorful food. So I can chop up some onions, I can chop up some garlic, I can chop up some ginger. I have my herbs, my oregano, my parsley, my basil out front. So you can choose like what kind of food do you like? Do you like an Italian garden? So if you like Italian, plant parsley, plant basil, plant oregano, plant thyme, plant rosemary if you like rosemary. Flavorings on stuff. Or if you would rather have like Mexican, then make sure you're planting peppers, plant cilantro. So you get the drift, right? You plant according to what you and your family eat. But anyway, I'm going to show you how I did my potatoes, because you can actually take grocery store bought potatoes, grow more potatoes out of them, and it's kind of late in the season, so I'm not 100% certain how these are going to do, because they do best if I plant I should have planted in March, but I did not. So I'm going to plant them now, better late than never, and see how they do, because they already are growing eyes all over them. So I might as well see how they do. These are the potatoes that I already put in. So I see them taking off. I know they're doing pretty well. This is a bag of russet potatoes I got from Aldi. You can see where they have eyes all over them. They are mushy and not in great shape, but I am actually going to take this and I'm going to cut it, split it in half, because I have a lot of really good big eyes going on. This one's kind of rotted off. I'm going to just kind of push that off. It's rotted, so that'll grow some more. But you see where I've got all those eyes? All I'm going to do is put them in the ground like this and bury them at least 6 inches under. If you can get them deeper, get them deeper. As deep as you can get potatoes, that's how you want them to grow. So I'm gonna look at my potato, kind of eyeball, eye the eyes. I'm gonna cut that one off because that one's kind of rotty. I'm gonna cut it. Okay. I've got a salamander over there. Better a salamander than a snake, right? So I might regret this because the ground, it just rained a lot. The ground's wet. So I have a couple of potatoes with the eyes. Each of these, and I've said it before, each of these can put off 3 or 4 more potatoes if they are able to come to fruition. So I'm gonna actually cut this at an angle and get 2 eyes on each side, because I wanna have 2 eyes on each side. Hi, hun. Brought the bunny back out. So I have 2 eyes on each side. I'm going to put those in the ground. And each of these could give me, if they're really healthy, and if I had planted them earlier, maybe 6 or 7 potatoes, but I didn't. So I'm looking at maybe 3 or 4 potatoes. Instead, don't feed her my potatoes, which that's not bad. 1 potato from the grocery store, cut in half, 3 or 4 potatoes. So I just took 1 potato I can't use and I'm making 6 to 8 more potatoes out of it. And potatoes are one of those things you can do everything with. You can dehydrate them, you can freeze them, you can can them, of course fry them. The amount of ways that you can cook them, but the amount of ways you can preserve them are also really great. If you have a root cellar, you can put these down there and they last forever, or garage. So these are a very versatile thing to have in your garden, and it would be a really wise idea to have some of these. So I'm gonna go get my spade. I actually have a blank spot right next to me in the garden that has nothing in it. I need to move my soaker hose away because my onions really don't need it and my potatoes really don't need it. So I need to get my soaker hose away because you can overwater potatoes, and if they get overwatered, they're gonna rot under there, and then you're just gonna have a harvest of rotten potatoes. So basically, you get them ready, you put them in the ground, and you do nothing. Like, you keep it weeded, but other than that, you do absolutely nothing else to your potatoes, and you just let them go. So I am going to put these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got a couple more in here I can cut up. A very small amount of area, like a 4 by 8 area, can yield 100 pounds of potatoes. So this is definitely something, if you have a small area, you can put them in a raised bed, you can put them in an in-ground bed, you can put them in a 5-gallon bucket. As long as they are 6 inches under and it's deep enough to get some roots, you can put them however you are comfortable growing potatoes. So if you live in a neighborhood and there's not enough space, get a few 5-gallon buckets and like put them right up against the back of your house. Just make sure they get some sun and fill them with soil and stick some potatoes in there because they are the gift that keeps on giving. You can keep your potatoes, so you can keep a couple of your potatoes from your harvest, and then you can put them in the ground again the next year. And potatoes are one of those things that they grow very well pretty much throughout the year. I mean, they don't grow very well in the dead of winter. So like you can harvest around October, November, and then not harvest again until January, or not put them in the ground again until like January, and then you plant again. And I think it's every 3 months. It's every 3 or 4 months you can harvest potatoes. It's quite a common thing to be able to harvest on the regular. So I am going to put these in the ground, let them grow. That's the rest of my bag of potatoes that I couldn't use inside because they're too soft and got eyes all over them. So I'm gonna get my spade, dig up a little spot around here, and just put them in the ground. They don't have to be too terribly far apart. I'm actually gonna put them in the ground fairly close together. So probably just 2 finger distance apart from each other, and then I'm gonna let them go, and I'm not gonna bother with them anymore. What I have to put them in is my lasagna garden. You saw how I made that with the corn. That's what this is, that my onions and potatoes are growing in right now. I am going to put these in the lasagna garden, and that's it. So I encourage you to grow you some potatoes. They don't have to be super expensive. Go to the grocery store. They will be probably, treated and all that jazz. You go get organic potatoes if you want to, but go get you some potatoes, let them get the eyes inside the house, and you can speed that up by putting like toothpicks through it. I don't know if you've seen those experiments with kids, and like dip the end in the water, dangle it in the water, and it like speeds up getting the eyes on there and the roots and all that jazz. Or you can just let them sit for 2 months like I did, and then you just magically have eyes all over them. So once they get some eyes on them, then you drop them in the ground and you ignore them for 3 months until they're ready to harvest. So that poor rabbit. I'm gonna go save Snowball and get my spade and put these in the ground right here. It's gonna be beautiful, and I need to move the soaker hose away because we do not need the soaker hose touching the potatoes. So anyway, be blessed, homesteaders. Have a great day. Get your garden going. You will not regret growing your own food. Do it. If you have any room at all in your property, get 5-gallon buckets, whatever you can get, a kiddie pool, get whatever, the garden. Enjoy it. Have a blessed day.